The black cats got Dave N. The white cats, they got Doug. The Google search engine has a...
Welcome to the Jim and Ann Show.
Yeah, we need a new song. Panda.
Panda, we're going to talk about Panda. Start with, I'm Jim Boykin, the CEO of Internet Marketing Ninjas. We offer full-service internet marketing, including helping sites by Panda.
And I'm Ann Smati, the brand and community manager of Internet Marketing Ninjas.
All right. So today we have a great topic to talk about. We could talk about this for hours and hours, but we're gonna try and go quickly over a lot of different aspects of this. Panda
has been announced.
Yeah. So I guess Panda, Google said started Panda 4.2 started to roll out July 18th and 19th. And so SEOs really hadn't seen anything. The reports up today so far really not much. But we're very familiar with Panda updates because we're now probably up to like number 30 Panda updates.
Yeah, it's interesting that all the past Panda updates was reported by webmasters. They noticed something was going on, and then Google confirmed that. And this time, Google confirmed no one noticed anything.
Correct. And I think it's interesting, but they've been talking about doing these rolling updates as one of the names for them. But what they said with this particular update is that it's going to be rolling out over the course of a few months. I forget their exact wording of it. But it's going to be rolling out over a period of time. So if you've been affected by this update, you probably are not going to see an overnight thing happen. You're going to just start slowly seeing your rankings and traffic go downhill probably. And that's part of Google's, I believe, master plan here with Panda and Penguin and other updates. It's we talked about this a little bit in one of our last videos, but let's say that you rank number 3 for blue widgets. And so that's kind of your score by Google for the search for blue widgets. You should be number 3. And now maybe after a Panda refresh or a Penguin refresh, they may say, well, you should be number 53. But what's going to happen is you don't overnight go from 3 to 53. It happens over the course of what may be 3 or 6 months. And suddenly one day you wake up and you're like, wow, my rankings have really taken a slide, but slowly over time, not on any particular date. If I look back over the past 6 months, what's happened with Google, well, there was Panda refreshes, Penguin refreshes, Phantom updates, above the fold updates,
mobile
updates, like what was it?
Whatever needs to be fixed, everything.
So yeah, I think that's kind of really bad for most people and for websites because they're slowly going to lose traffic and not really have any clue if it was their content or backlinks or mobile or whatnot. So it makes it really hard to identify, and thus when it's harder to identify, you're not quite sure what it is that you need to fix.
So let's start what Panda is. What is Panda?
Sure.
And why would anyone suspect that he or she may be slammed by Panda?
Yeah, it's worth noting that some people might be thinking, I don't need to worry about Panda. And Panda has to do with content. And I guarantee that everyone who was hit on Panda 27 or 4.1 or whatever, if I went to them and said, how's your content? Yeah, my content's really good, and then they get hit. So even if you think your content is pristine and good, it's worth thinking again. And a lot of what Panda has to do with is poor content or too much content. We can talk about the specifics of it, but it used to be that if you had, let's say you had a 10,000 page website, and maybe that was in 2008, and suddenly you're like, well, I should, and maybe I'm making $10,000 a month with my 10,000 page website. And so one day you're like, I had a 100,000 page website, I'd be making a heck of a lot more money. Why don't I just build a page for every single keyword phrase I can and little variations of it, and how much content can I get and how cheap can I get it? Because I need a lot of it. How cheap can I get 90,000 pages of content? So people did things like spinning content, getting people to write it that English wasn't their first language, just getting junk, and it worked for years. And suddenly that person may go from 1,000 a month to 10,000 a month over time, or from 10,000 a month to 100,000 a month, whatever the example was. And everything is going great, and then suddenly one day they lose all their traffic. Well, it used to be that Google used to say, all right, if you have a 100,000 page website, there's certainly going to be a lot of those pages that aren't high value, almost no matter what. And by high value, I mean, if you have a 100,000 page website, certainly they're not all handwritten, hand-coded pages. It's something that's machine generated, database generated, and Google in a sense seems to like hand-done pages, or pages that are more top level. If you have a 100,000 page website, some of those pages are going to be deep within your website. And it used to be that if Google said, all right, here's a set of pages that we don't feel are very valuable, they would put them into what was known as the supplemental results, which is kind of in Google's main index. There used to be like the regular index and the supplemental index. And if they thought there were low value pages, either really deep pages or duplicate content pages, and that could be duplicate within your own site or duplicate to other sites, or if you had pages with really thin content, or pages with hardly any content, or just tons of really deep pages, then Google would take those pages and put them into this other index called the supplemental index. And what would happen is any of your pages that Google put into the supplemental index would never rank for anything of any value. The way that Google worked then is if you search for blue widgets, Google first goes to their regular index and they say, hey, do we have enough results in the regular index of URLs that we like to feed into here? And if they say, yep, there's tons, they grab from there. But if someone searches for blue widgets, Clifton Park, New York, small, cheap, and Google goes to the regular index and says, well, there's not much pages in our high quality stuff. All right, let's go see what we have in the supplemental index. And when Google started to put more and more, a higher percentage of people's sites into the supplemental index, meaning we already know that they don't like a large percentage of people's websites, and they would show it within the search results. Like you could do a site colon command and see which one of your pages were in there. And Google started putting more and more of people's websites pages into this, and people started to freak out. And so Google used to always say, like, hey, don't worry about it. If you have pages in the supplemental results, it doesn't hurt your main site. Like, anything over here, don't worry about it. You are probably only ranking for this stuff anyways, and this is the good stuff. And even if you have a 100,000 page website and 90% of your pages are in the supplemental results, it's not going to hurt your 10,000 good pages. And that's the way that it kind of worked for years. There's been certain changes in Google over time, things like caffeine and Hummingbird and whatever, but these, but still we know that Google really only likes, in a sense, a certain amount of pages of your website. And part of it is how many pages can your site support. If you have, let's say you got your 10,000 page website, and maybe your 10,000 page website has 1,000 backlinks to the site. You have 1,000 different domains that are linking to your site. And Google may say, well, we're going to, any site that has 1,000 unique sites to it of a certain value, we're going to index up to 10,000 of your web pages, or put those in the regular index, or maybe it's 1,000 pages. But if you have 100,000 pages, Google's like, your site doesn't have enough trust to support that many pages. And may take 90% of those pages and just kind of say, we don't like those. And again, it used to be that if Google didn't like pages, it didn't hurt you. But now, in the advent of Panda, it's like if Google doesn't like these pages and 90% of your website, your 10% good pages are now, they're affected. They're affected. Because kind of the way that it works is, when you're hit by Panda, there's sections of your website that Google doesn't like, and they kind of give those, in a sense, negative scores. These pages, which before had kind of a score of 0, and it didn't hurt the site, now have a score of like, let's say -2. All these pages we feel are -1 to 3 or whatever, and the average is 2. And how that works is now these pages like don't rank or suddenly lose a lot of it, and it's like a cancer where it just, all of this is negative. And so if you look higher up in your website, in your hierarchy, in the pages that link to the section that maybe Google doesn't like, part of the value of a page that's above it, let's say you, I don't know, sell tickets or concert tickets or something. And so let's say you're a ticket site and you have concert tickets and theater tickets and sports tickets, and let's say on your concert ticket area you've got content that Google doesn't like, and so it starts scoring those pages -2. Well, what happens is, if you look at the pages above it, like maybe your main ticket page has 25 links to theater stuff and 25 links to sports stuff and 25 links to concerts, and maybe it doesn't like the concert folder, and the value of this page is now lowered because Google says, well, 1/3 of the links on this page are linking to stuff which is a negative value, and part of the score of this page is based on what does it link to and what are the values of those. And now this page has 1/3 of the links that Google doesn't like, and it values this page by 1/3. And then, you look at what are the pages that link to that. Maybe it's your home page. And your home page now has a link to the concert ticket things, and that's a -2, and now your home page is devalued a little bit. So it's like Google, when someone's hit by Panda, almost always the answer is you got too much content. Like, no matter what, you gotta go in there, like Google has said, not with a with a pair of scissors or whatever. You're going in there with a hacksaw and a chainsaw, and you're whacking stuff, and you're making your site much smaller. And there's certain ways you can do things so that you can regain all that traffic with your current pages without having all those others. Just things have changed. And so again, just to go over some of the causes of Panda is, it's mostly about content, mostly. And it's usually you have too much content. Things like low quality pages, spun pages, duplicate content pages, thin pages, too many pages that are just very deep. I mean, what if Google said, and they may, what if we don't trust any page that's 2 links away from any page that has a backlink? You're like, all right, on my 100,000 page website, I have, 90% of those are more than 3 links away from any page that has a backlink to it. And if you're Google and you're looking at the entire web and like how much of the web is crap and just not linked to from anything, and you say, well, I'll count everything that's maybe 3 links away from any linked page, but anything else beyond that, why bother? It's three links away from anything that anyone has ever voted for. Google updates.
Google
Google.
updates.
Can I say damn on the air?
Yes.